If you want to hear hundreds of different answers for just one question, ask, what is the true self? We also attempt to answer this question with endless personality tests and quizzes. But there's only one answer to the question, and it was answered for us in the most ancient texts known to humanity. And I'll give you the answer now. Have you ever thought about some of the expressions we take for granted, like get out the way of yourself, and I knew I should have listened to myself? So, who is this person we need to get out the way of and listen to? Without realizing, we're talking about our true self. What's the true self? I'll tell you in a second, but first, consider this. If we ask what is the true self, we must therefore agree that there is a false self, right? In other words, we must agree that there are two of you, and only that one of them is real. How can we distinguish between the two? So when we remove everything that is false, only the truth remains. True is defined as not false. So let's first look at the definition of false when it's used to describe something as in a false version of you. It means made to deceive and not factual. In other words, it isn't real. The fake version of you can only be caused, therefore, by your nurture. As soon as we're born, we're indoctrinated. We're hardwired to conform to the group for better survival. Parents, teachers, friends, the social narrative. We adapt to all these things to fit in and pacify. In other words, we fabricate a conforming version of ourselves without realizing. And that sounds like the definition of false, right? Made to deceive and not factual. The line between true and false self was drawn on the day you were born. The day you became conscious and you began development of your ego, which is the false version of you. It's only an idea of who you are. But after years and years of spinning this web to conform, we end up believing that this false self, ego consciousness, is who we are. But deep inside, in our gut, in a collect call from our ancient instincts, we know that this is a lie. So we start asking questions, or have mental health problems for inexplicable reasons. That's the false self. It's the fake version of you that was created after birth. It's postnatal. So by deduction, if our false self is our nurtured self, our true self must be our nature, the version of us that existed before birth. Nature, nurture, right? There's no nature-nurture argument. You're both. Nurture then is the false self, after birth, ego consciousness. Nature is the true self then, right? Before birth, or unconscious. So your nature is in your genes, therefore. So that is where your true self must lie. You can't deny that logic. So is there a fully formed version of you, a personality type in your genes? Yes, and that's what my years of award-winning research has revealed in detail, and I call them genotypes. But your false self does not want you to see them. Ego has been in the driving seat for years, and it's not giving up that power without a fight. There's another definition of true, and that is in accordance with reality. So then your false self is not in accordance with reality. You just think it is. Society thinks it is. And that means we must forge a new reality for ourselves based on the realization of your true self, not what everyone else wants you to be. Or as Abraham Maslow, father of modern psychology, prescribed, you need to be independent of the good opinion of others. If you want a definitive and detailed answer on who your true self is, it's time for you to know your genotype.